Hey everyone, we're just going to give people another minute to join, so we'll get started here at 12:02.
Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Langley New Family Technology Orientation. This program was developed as a follow-up to orientation. It was something that we thought it would be a little too long to have for our August orientation. And so I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Lindsay Fisher, who's in charge of instructional technology at Langley. And she works with the teachers and students to help them have meaningful technology experiences in the high school. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Dr. Fisher. I'm really pleased. She's just a wonderful resource here at Langley. And thank you for all being here today.
If you want to mute.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome y'all. So my name is Dr. Fisher, and you guys, I'll give you guys access to this slide deck here in a little bit so you guys can have my email information. I'll also tell you the best way to get in touch with somebody to help assist you with technology. It's not through sending me an email. There is a system for it that can help you faster than I can. My big fancy title is school-based technology specialist, but like Julie said, I'm the person here who helps teachers and students use technology in meaningful ways in their classrooms. So today we're going to talk briefly about the different items that families use in Fairfax County with technology. So this includes things such as SIS Parent View, Schoology, FCPS Google. We'll talk about Chromebooks, talking points, Tutor.com, and some translation services. The bulk of our time is going to be spent on Parent View and Schoology because in all honesty, that's the thing that I'm most familiar with. And Tutor.com, talking points, and the translation services, those are also a little bit easier to understand and something you might not be using as much anyway. So we'll get right to it. You guys have probably heard about SIS, Schoology, and Google Suite a good bit. I know this is a really big slide with a lot of information, so I'm going to give you a really quick synopsis, and then we'll dive deep into each of these. First up, you've got SIS Parent View, and that's the student information system. That's where your child's gradebook and attendance is. It's kind of the place where you go for data. So this is where you'd find information about the attendance. This is where you'd find their gradebook, their progress reports. This is where you would sign certain forms and things like that. That's all the student information. So that's why it's called SIS, Student Information System. Schoology is for school. This is where you find assignments. This is where you find due dates. This is where you find announcements from teachers. So this is the kind of the more human element of the school, whereas SIS is kind of the here's where the numbers live place. Then lastly, you've got G Suite, which is Google Suite for Education. These are this is a student where students will complete some assignments and put together things. It is not accessible to parents, and the reason it's not accessible to parents is that this is closed campus. We call it a walled garden. The reason for this is so that your students don't get targeted by strange individuals on the internet. They can't contact other people outside. They're also not contacted by outside companies mining their data. It's very secure. So with that being said, if you want your student to show you what they're doing in Google, just ask them. That'll be something that we'll get to in just a minute. Okay, so SIS, like I said, SIS is the student information. This is that data piece that where you guys will be looking at things like their schedule, their attendance, their discipline, other things along those lines. And so you guys will have a SIS parent view account. There is also a mobile app available, and I'll show you guys where you can go to find directions to download that. And so this is where you'll find basic information for your students. One thing to know about me, I'm not a parent and I'm not a Fairfax County parent, so I don't have access to SIS Parent View as a user, which is kind of a bummer because I'd love to demonstrate it for you. But what I can do is use screenshots from other people who are parents. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys today. And you guys will have access to this after, as well as to the recording. So I do have some help links as well. So if you get stuck and you don't remember how to do something, or if I couldn't demonstrate something because, like I said, not a Fairfax County parent, these things are accessible for you as well. Fairfax County is a really robust tech website. So if you ever get stuck, you can Google Fairfax County parent tech help, and there are a lot of things will pop up there for you. So this is what it'll look like when you are in the parent view account. So first thing I want you to notice is that you can swap between different families up here. So if you want to switch between your student here at Langley and your other student at Cooper, you can toggle there, or between different students as well. Over here on the side, you'll see a little section that can give you all kinds of information. So maybe there'll be messages coming from your teacher. The calendar isn't really a function that people use a whole lot in SIS. So here at Langley, I'll explain you calendar once we get to Schoology. Attendance is here, their class schedule. If you're new to Langley, you might not have anything in course history. So if you are new to Fairfax County schools, that probably doesn't have much in there. Course request, you guys will hear more about that in January. Gradebook is really the place that you'll probably be looking the most. And this is where you can see student grade information. When you log in as well, you also see for if you have two students here at Langley, you might see the recent history, which will be the things that they have most recently turned in. So you can see this person over here has recently gotten a score on their algebra assignment here, and you can see that there. You can also click on the name of the class to see more information. If you're monitoring grades in SIS, what you'll want to do is go to the gradebook section. So that's over here on this left-hand menu. When you click gradebook, you'll be able to see how many missing assignments the child has, as well as their percent for their grade, what quarter we're in. So in this case, when the screenshots for this were taken, it was third quarter. Presently, we're in first, and access to Parent View just opened up yesterday. So you'll be able to see any grades entered in as soon as today. So you can also click into each one of these individual classes. So if you want to click into your 6th period leadership training right here, you can do that. And then you'll get access to what that gradebook looks like. You can also email the teacher by clicking on the email envelope. So if you are having a hard time looking up their email address, no worries, it's accessible through SIS. If you want to see different performance quarters, you can click through here. Right now we're in first quarter. There are no other quarters to look at. So nothing else to see. If you want to look at attendance in SIS, there's a section for that. So here, when you go in off to the side, you've got attendance. You can see totals by course. You can also see totals by period, which is helpful if you know which period your child has which class. If you're not totally sure, I might go with totals by course so you can see here. And then you can also see where the child was excused, tardy, unexcused, if they had an activity, or if there's nothing there, that means school is not scheduled. So for example, no school on Monday, January 2nd, so nothing would be there. If you don't see anything in the box, like for this person on Tuesday the 2nd, or sorry, Tuesday the 10th, there's nothing there, that means your child was there. Nope, nothing else to see. So like I said earlier, SIS stands for Student Information System. So that's where information, so really this is where you see data. So if you're looking for just when was my child absent, what score did they get? That's where you're going to find that information. It's also the grade book of record. Sometimes teachers like to include a grade on a Schoology assignment. That's not in the grade book though. So if you're looking, make sure to see how your child is doing and what their grade average is. You want to look in SIS parent view. Schoology, like I said, may include a grade, but that doesn't mean it's the grade. So there may be other grades that are included. Next up, we're going to talk about Schoology. And like I said, Schoology is for school. If you're looking at the day-to-day, what assignments do we have? When is this due? What is my teacher trying to say about this, that, and the other? Sorry, I just knocked over my coffee. This is where you'd find that information. And please know that we will have some time for Q&A at the end, or if you have questions, you can feel free to toss them in the chat as we go. And I'm happy to talk about that. Oh, we just went right back to where we were at the beginning. All right, so Schoology is pronounced Schoology. It's not Schoology. So say it to yourself when you're sitting at home or right here at your desk. It is Schoology. And it makes it a little easier for you to say. Schoology is a mouthful. So this is the learning space where this is where you kind of build in that place for you to understand what's going on, for students to understand. And this is also a place where students can collaborate, where the teacher can work with students digitally and all that. So things that you can see on Schoology, you can see all of your child's classes. You'll also see an all students second page where that's kind of like a student resource page. There's an all school page where important school information is housed. You'll see an all parents page, which is actually where I posted the link to this presentation, but I'll share it with you guys here in a few as well. And they'll have a special page for your child's course level. So if your child is in the class of 2024 and they're graduating this year, woohoo, there's lots of important information in that class of 2024 course. You can also see student clubs and things like that in there. But I think for the most part, what parents are interested in Schoology is accessing the class, seeing descriptions of upcoming assignments, and then viewing some announcements. And there's also a mobile app, and I'll show you guys how to use the mobile app because there's a little trick to it if you're new to the district. Again, we're including a lot of help links in here that you guys will get here in a few minutes once I distribute this presentation to you. So I'll make sure to pass those along as well. So when you're in Schoology, if you have multiple students, then up in the upper right corner, it'll have your name, and you can use a little drop down to see your child's name. You have access to all your child's courses as well as the parent, the all school and the all parent accounts. So you can look in there as well. But I think your child's name is really the exciting piece. You can view your students' activity and courses. So for example, you can look at what your student has in here. So then you have the announcements, so you can see like what's going on with your child, specific courses your child has that says, hey, here's what's going on here. The announcements can get a little overwhelming. So if you are wondering what's going on in a specific course, it's best to click on that course in general. You can also see your students' courses here. So you can see, hey, they have US history. Click on that and get into there. You can see what clubs they're in and things like that in their student enrollments. So here's an example of a course here at Langley. So if your child is in photography, this might look familiar to you. So in the course, you'll see a few things of note. One is each course should have a Start Here folder. And in that Start Here folder, it should include their syllabus, their contact information. We've asked them to include an explanation of how materials are organized in the course, but that may depend on how the teacher chooses to organize it. You should also see on the outside, so when I say outside, the first page of materials, you should have different folders with dates on them. Each folder should have a date just so you have an idea of what folder to go to. You might not know that your child is working on composition study last week, but you do know the dates of last week. So that's why we've asked the parent or the teachers to include that for both parents and students. So if you need to find materials and assignments, let's say your child was absent on August 31st, you can just navigate to materials, find the date your child was absent, and boom, oops, I just clicked on it because I got too excited. Then you can access that right there. Other things to note is that in the, I only know my right and left when I'm driving. On the right side, you'll see the upcoming section. In that upcoming section, you'll see those due dates. If an item, the items will remain upcoming even if they're submitted past the due date. That's a Schoology functionality, and that's something Fairfax County has changed. And trust me, we tried. With that being said, at least you know that that's there and you can ask your child about it. Teachers may also put in the corner, in upcoming, they might also put in things that are dates that don't have an assignment attached. So for example, if there is a, if you know that there's going to be an essay, but they're not going to do it on Schoology, they might say essay on this day or test on this day, which is helpful because it helps you to prepare. Teachers might also post some updates. You can see them there. Remember how I told you that some teachers put grades in there? Teachers can put grades in Schoology, but please check SIS instead of Schoology for the grades. The Schoology grade might just be to help direct a student to say like, hey, on this composition study assignment, you got this grade. Here is why. But SIS will be the place where you get that average and see how your student is doing in the course as a whole. The rest of these probably aren't of particular interest to y'all. Zoom, we hopefully won't be using that at all this year with your child. I don't believe that we have any reason to at this point. Members is just who else is in the class. Mastery is something we're not using here at Langley. And then the Lucid chart and tutor.com we can get to a little later. If your child's in, so courses, if you click on this guy, you can find all the courses your child's in. Groups, this is where you could find any clubs that your child's in. And then resources and tools, because this is my screen grab, this will look a little different for you guys. So what do we got next? So if you want to see a class, you'll just choose courses, and then you'll select the tile for the course you want to see. The tile is just like a little image that's specific to each course. Like it says here, grade report will not reflect the most average or most accurate grade for your child. Look at SIS, because SIS is where the grades live. So you can look at the grade report, but it's not going to be as helpful as going to SIS Parent View. As promised, if you want to use the Schoology app, you just go to the App Store on either your iOS or your Android, wherever the App Store lives. And download Schoology. Once you get to Schoology, you are not going to look for the Langley School or Langley High School. You are going to look for Fairfax County Public Schools. And once you find Fairfax County Public Schools, that will bring you to the correct page and you can go ahead and log in. If you look for Langley High School, it's going to say that you don't have a login because that's just not how the Fairfax County version works. So what you'll do is look for Fairfax County Public Schools. Also a reminder that don't go to Schoology.com and try to log in. You're going to go to lms.fcps.edu, and that's linked directly from the Fairfax County website, from the Langley website, and it'll be linked in this presentation as well. Google Workspace, we're just going to talk about just for a minute. Because Google Workspace, y'all don't really have access to that. So parents don't have access to Google Workspace because they don't want people outside of Fairfax County Public Schools to access any kind of student information. And that unfortunately includes parents, because there's no way to grant you access without granting the whole world access. So if you'd like to see what your student is working on in their school Google, you should ask them. Then they can show you, be able to tell you, you can see those other things in there. It also means that you can't email your child at their fcpsschools.net account. So sometimes I get emails throughout the year saying, hey, I can't email my child on their school email. That's correct. You can't, and I can't grant you access because I'm not that cool. Because that doesn't exist. So I wish I could. I wish I could make this make a little more sense for y'all. But at any rate, this is really important to protecting your child's privacy. So if you need to communicate with your child, find a way to do that at home. You can also email your child's teacher if you need to get in touch with them, and hopefully they're checking their email during class. If not, they're probably teaching. So here, more information is included on there. Speaking of privacy, Fairfax County Public Schools uses a lot of resources for student learning, and we're not going to get into detail about what all those are here because there are a ton of them, and parents don't generally access those. Those are things that go on in the classroom. Some of those resources, though, may require parental consent, and the reason for that is just so that you're aware of what your child's using. These things have all been vetted by Fairfax County. They've all been approved. They've gone through and made it so that they understand all the data and all the different things that the digital resource is using. But they do want parents to consent and understand what they're doing. And this is really important. I'll make sure to copy the link to this separately. But we do need your permission for them to use certain tech tools. Schoology, Google Suite, and there's a variety of other ones. Fairfax County's already vetted that to the point where that should be something substantial enough that the privacy agreements are such that parents don't need to approve it. But there are some things that parents do need to approve. So I'll shoot an email to that or a link to that. One big important piece to that is Google. And in Google, there's YouTube. So YouTube is part of that parental consent piece. And some teachers use educationally vetted YouTube materials that are approved by Fairfax County, but that need your parental consent in order to go forward. And so that's just making sure that your child's data is being used accurately. So please, 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 please make sure to get that form submitted with your permission or not, so that your child can access the tools that they need. Naviance. Naviance is something you'll use the login for SIS for, and this provides middle and high school students with resources to help them prepare for anything that they do after high school. So whether that means they are going into the military, whether that means they're taking a gap year, whether that means they're going straight on to college or straight on to a job, Naviance provides tools for that. So in Naviance, you can log in to view information about your child's academic interests, plans, opportunities. You can also use that to help research college and careers and see what kind of opportunities your child has for scholarships and for enrichment. And like I said, this is the same login you use for SIS. It can also be translated into more than 70 languages, which is really great. So the login information and other information is here. You can log in through Schoology. If there's any issues with that, I'll tell you guys how to how to fix that, because that's, again, something I can't help with, but it would be helpful for you to know. Chromebooks. So every Fairfax County student may check out a Chromebook. So Chromebook is a laptop. That laptop primarily uses Google Chrome. So they don't have a whole lot of operating or files that can be downloaded on there. There isn't a whole lot of programs that's being used. This is primarily used for students to access web-based materials, which is good because that's almost entirely what Fairfax County Public Schools uses. These Chromebooks were distributed in your child's English class on the first days of school. But if your child uses a personal laptop at school, that's completely fine. In fact, we don't need them to take a Chromebook at all. If they don't plan on using it, or if they took one and they weren't sure and it's just been sitting under their desk for a few weeks, they can go ahead and return it, and we can give one back to them if for some reason their personal computer stops working. It's just not the best use of Fairfax County resources, and honestly of yours, your space. We all know space is at a premium here in Northern Virginia. So please go ahead and return that if they're not using it. If they are using it, it's great. It has some wonderful battery life. It works really fast, and it operates pretty much everything they would need here at school. So you can use those here at Langley High School. Two last things before we get to any questions. Fairfax County offers a free service called Tutorcom to help your students get free support in the courses. So students can log in with Schoology and follow these steps. And I'm going to hop back real quick and show you guys. Over here on the side, in your Schoology, there is this Tutor.com button. And once they click into there, it'll walk them through a process to help them find a tutor for the assignment and for the particular topics that they need help with. And so these are vetted tutors. They are real humans and not artificial intelligence or generative AI or anything like that. So these are things that can help your child for free to do better in their courses. So strongly suggest using that. It's a great free resource, especially if your child just needs like that little extra explanation to try and get through their course. So here are some other sites of interest that, and this is me being perfectly frank because I work with teachers and students. I don't know a whole lot about my school books, but if you're a new family, this is something you probably want to know about. This is My School Bucks. And so when you log into My School Bucks, it's where you pay for things like a missing textbook, a laptop charger, parking passes, extracurricular fees, things like that. So you go into My School Bucks and there is a link here to access kind of an explanation of how you use it, how you log in, things of that nature. Translation services are great. So every Fairfax County website, so if you see anything that's at fcps.edu, all those websites can translate into Spanish, Korean, Arabic, Chinese, and Vietnamese. So there's a translation button on the top, and I'll show you guys where that is once we get out of this slide deck. So that can be very helpful. You can also request translation services through Fairfax County as well, and that's something that maybe Julie can help you out with a little bit more than I can. There's also a service called Talking Points. And so if English is not your first language, please request to your teacher that they can converse with you via Talking Points. It's an app, and the idea behind it, thought I had a slide in there for it. The idea behind it is if I text you something in English, it will translate it into your chosen language, and then you can respond back in that chosen language, and it translates back to me in English. So that allows teacher and parent to communicate in a way that makes sense for both of them, and in a way that helps everybody be a little more clear about what's going on in the school. Completely free through Fairfax County Public Schools. You just may need to reach out to your teacher and let them know that you want to use it. We don't have a giant English language learner population here at Langley, so we're still in the infancy of learning to use this, and it's only the second year that Fairfax County has it. So, and if you have questions about it, you can also reach out to me and I can help you out with that. We have My School Books. So last thing that I have for you guys before I turn you loose with questions or any kind of demonstration is if you need help, you can go to this website. The website that I've linked, or if you just Google Fairfax County Public Schools parent tech support, there's a spot for a parent tech request. And I will go ahead and actually demonstrate that for you here in a second. If you email or call the school, the thing is that the system that we have in place, it goes through that website and those tech requests. And so it puts them in an automated order, and that helps us to serve people faster. So when you go through that website, if you have something that I can't fix, or there's my counterpart, Ms. Gallietta, who helps out with laptops and works with more of the hardware part of the technology. If that's something that neither of us can fix, it'll go directly to somebody who can. So please, please, please put in a parent support ticket by going to this website. And I'll make sure you can see that. Yep. This website, which also has a ton of links that will help you get started. So on this website, which is just fcps.edu technology support for families, you can find tons of information to get you started. And then there's the still need help button, or submit help for your parent account, or submit help with your student device. And those are the best things to do right there. One thing to note is that Fairfax County schools operate during Fairfax County schools hours. So if you submit something at 2 a.m. on a Saturday, we very much appreciate your dedication to your child's education, but nobody will get back to you until the morning of Monday, or till school gets back on Monday. So just making sure that you know, it's not a 24-hour staffed line. Also, this says the phone line here will be answered by staff members from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Putting in a ticket may not get you access until the school opens the next morning. So, other thing I wanted to show you is up in the corner, you can see where my little Pikachu is up here. This is where you can translate it into Spanish, into Korean, into Chinese, etc. Which is a pretty neat feature it has here. I know that they're working on other languages. It just takes a little while to do that with Fidelity. And so I did see somebody had a question in chat saying, will this be available to view later? It will. And what I'm going to do now is stop sharing my screen. I'm going to send you the link to the orientation itself. And then I'll also let you know that this is going to be posted online or posted for viewing. I'll send it to all of you, but then also we will post it to the school website. So if anyone has questions, you guys can either raise your hand, type it in the chat. Let me know. There's the link. So what questions have I generated for y'all? How do you access Schoology? So accessing Schoology, so I will post the link in the chat here. And then when you go to this website, the website in the chat, you'll log in with your parent view account. Regarding tutor.com, is there a limit on the number of tutoring sessions my child can set up for a week? I don't believe so. But if you go in the resources in the presentation on, oh shoot, I only have the steps to, on how to log in, but let me check in there and see. My understanding is because this is a free resource, there shouldn't be a limit, but oh my goodness, I have translated the web page into Arabic and can't turn it back. But regarding time limit, I'm not 100% sure, but we can find out for you. Why are the links to some of the links required the child's Google account? So the parent's trying to buy the homecoming t-shirt. So the student should be able to log in and buy the homecoming t-shirt themselves, or or if you're talking about the senior t-shirt, it should be there. So, and that might be a better question for the administrator regarding that specific account. The only thing in Google that you can access are certain Google Forms. So that might be something where that administrator needs to turn on the form. Okay, so somebody else asking, so another question folks are asking, if we are checking on our child's assignments in Schoology, we can't open a lot of the assignments, correct? That is correct. So those are places where you might need to ask your child what's going on there, what specifically you're trying to look for. That might be a better thing to ask the child for. And I'm just trying to check all of the links. Okay, so on the homecoming shirts, that's a question. Please ask that question about the shirts to the administrator, because I'm not totally sure what you're talking about. And so that's a good question. I'm seeing a question about how to add a child. If you would shoot me an email, I think that might be a more specific question for you. And Stella is saying there is a tutor.com webinar by PTSA last year that was very helpful. So that might be something we could find a link to and post with this information. So still going through different things. Somebody's asking how up to date are the posted grades? That would really depend on your child and their teacher. So teachers are expected to enter in grades for certain assignments within 7 days. So that should be updated within a week, unless it's a very long assignment. So if an assignment hasn't been graded yet, please reach out to the teacher individually. That would be the easiest way to get that information. So like I said, if it's a smaller assignment, parents or teachers are supposed to have it in within a week. Also keep in mind, teachers don't always grade everything. So, oh, thank you for posting the tutor.com link. That's really helpful. What other questions do y'all have? All right, well, I have posted the link to my email in the chat. I've also posted the link to this presentation for today in the chat. And you can also find it by going to Schoology. I will actually show you how to navigate there just in case. We're going to screen 3. So once you're in Schoology, you want to go to courses. You'll want to find the All Parents and Guardians course. And then you can find the Family Tech Orientation link here. And that's where you can find all the information we've talked about today. I will also post the link to this recording a little later on, probably tomorrow, onto school YouTube so that you guys can access that. And I will post it here in this Parents and Guardians, as well as Ms. Zimmerman and I have discussed a few other places it might be helpful to see. Any last questions before we go? Well, thank you. How do you access Naviance from Schoology? So I think you can still see the thing up here. So Naviance should be, so you're going to go up to the, we call it the waffle up here. It's next to the magnifying glass. And then you click on Naviance and that will take you in there. Thank you all so much and hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.